Hi guys, welcome to Tamia's World. So today is going to be a two-part video, I think. I've got a lot going on. Excuse my appearance today, I've been in bed a lot, and my background. So I'm going to talk to you about a hospital visit that I had recently before Christmas and what actually happened while I was in there. So first of all, let's start off. I went to Sydney Campbelltown Hospital because my neurologist wanted me to go there and get a few more tests to confirm MS, because it's always been, do I have MS? Do I not have MS? They diagnose me with it and then they take that diagnosis back. So anyway, so I went to Sydney, went and got a spinal tap. Now, I thought I was going to go up there for just 2 days. I ended up going up there for 2 weeks. And what happened was I had the spinal tap and it went wrong and I kept on feeling sharp pains shooting down my legs. They couldn't get any fluid, so he was trying to get me to cough and all these kind of things so I could, get the fluid out. So that happened. I went back after the lumbar puncture thinking, it's over and done with. I don't have any more pain in my legs, rah. So I went back to the hospital bed. I felt a bit of numbness down my leg and a bit of numbness in my tongue. That soon passed. I was fine. That night I went to sleep. I woke up in the morning to get discharged, which I was meant to do. And I was really excited to get discharged, and I started feeling kind of sick when I moved my head. So then, because I felt sick every time I moved my head, I just thought, oh, I've probably got a headache or a migraine or something like that. So they end up taking me down to the discharge lounge, which was downstairs of the hospital. I was actually staying in the neurological and oncology ward. And that's a whole different story. Opening your eyes up to that kind of stuff is just absolutely crazy, like heartbreaking. So I went downstairs to the discharge lounge and waited for my sister to come pick me up. While I was down there, the pain got more and more in my back and my neck. So I was feeling quite nauseous and stuff like that, and I asked them for nauseous tablets and they gave them to me, and then all of a sudden I just started vomiting and I just kept on vomiting and vomiting and vomiting, and they still discharged me. I got in the car, my sister's car, and I just was like, look, I've got a 4-hour drive home, I'll just tough it out and just go. That fan's really annoying, sorry guys. Just tough it out and we'll go. So we got probably about 15 minutes up the road and I started vomiting again. And it was just non-stop vomiting. And I said to my sister, call an ambulance, because it felt like my head was going to explode, like something was really, really wrong. She pulled over. I don't really remember much of that. Apparently I had a seizure. I blacked out. The next thing I realised is that I'm at Campbelltown Hospital again, naked with, they were undressing me and putting tabs, heart monitors and stuff on me. So I was like, what the hell's going on? And I just felt like death, like absolute death. I couldn't move. I was just vomiting non-stop. My head was just like a vice. It was just so bad. So the doctor came up to me and said, look, it's an lumbar puncture headache. What happened is you got a leak. So I had a spinal fluid leak. So when you have a leak, what happens is your brain, the fluid around your brain that keeps your brain in its place, your brain shrinks down into your spinal cord, and obviously because there's no fluid and the fluid's leaking throughout your body or throughout the hole that the spinal tap was done through, if that makes sense. So I was having a lumbar puncture headache. So they said, look, you're gonna have to stay in here until it goes away. We'll put you on fluids, caffeine tablets, all that kind of stuff to try and help you with this headache. We can't let you go because, you know, you're really sick at the moment. So they drew some blood, and the next day it was even worse. Like, I was wetting myself. I'd lost all control of my bladder. I was constantly going to the toilet. I was just a mess. Like, I remember laying there thinking, like, I'm dying. Like, I feel like I'm dying. Like, I couldn't move. The pain was, like, horrendous. Like, it was just the worst experience of my life so far, and I never want to be back there again. I was just literally laying in a bed, wetting myself, vomiting. You know, there's nothing that they could do to help me. So they end up calling in a doctor to come and put a nasal block in my nose, which reaches the nerves in your brain and your spinal cord, which stops the pain. It doesn't cure you, but it stops the pain. So he grabbed this big long needle and stuck it right down the back of my nose to the bottom of my brain, and sprayed in this anesthetic, which numbed everything. And he done it to both nostrils. And that was the first time I had that done. And then the second time I had it done, which was the next day, because it worked quite well. I wasn't 100%, but it was like a lot better than it was. So the same anaesthetist come in and he said, look, you know, do you want to do it again? And I was like, all right, let's do it again. But this time, I don't know what happened, but he must have hit the sides of my nose, so I was bleeding a lot. So I was bleeding from my mouth and my nose, because obviously they're connected. And it just kept on bleeding and bleeding. So he didn't want to go any further with that, because I also had a reaction with the numbing gel, and couldn't really breathe well, because they put the numbing gel up your nose, or spray, and it goes down the back of your throat. So then you can't really feel your throat. But I was getting quite swollen, so I was having trouble breathing. So they stopped that altogether, which helped a lot. So fast forward the next day, I'm still in bed. I'm a lot better. Not 100%. I'm still not 100%. It's 3 weeks later. And my neurologist comes in and he says to me, okay, so we found something in your spinal fluid. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, what was that? And he said it's a very rare antibody, and it's called Zeek4 antibody. And it's found, it means that there's cancer somewhere in your body, basically. And he just kind of shrugged it off like it was just nothing, you know, like just telling someone that, you know, I'm going for a walk down the road, you know. And I was like, pardon? And he said, oh, there's a nasty cancer somewhere in your body. And I was like, okay then. So I was freaking out. So he come back in the following day. Meanwhile, I'd been searching this Zeek4 up, and I couldn't find much information about it. All I know is that it's a small cell lung disease, that it could be. Now, I've never smoked. Like, I've smoked probably for 6 months out of my life. I don't drink. I don't do anything like that. I'm pretty good overall, apart from my weight at this stage, because of all the meds that I've been on. So he come back in and he said, look, we found this other antibody, nothing to worry about, it causes neurological issues, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, whatever, you know, I was just more worried about having cancer. You like, take my arms and my legs, just don't give me cancer. Like, you know, the first thing that you associate with cancer is death. And I've got young kids, and I was crying and, you know, thinking the worst. And anyway, so I got discharged out of hospital. The next day I went and got a CT scan of my chest, abdomen and pelvis. And the day after that, I went and picked up my results because it was the day before Christmas, and I didn't want to have Christmas not knowing what was wrong with me, you know? So I get the report back and it says they found no cancer. So I was like, woohoo, like there's no cancer in me, like yay. The only thing they found was a 22 millimeter cyst on my ovary and some pelvic fluid. And that's it. So fast forward to today, I know that you're probably jumping all over the place. I look at my paperwork and I never really read it properly before, and I read the what it said about the Zika4 antibody, finding that in the spinal fluid, and they also found another antibody in the spinal fluid. Now, this antibody confirms that you have paraneoplastic syndrome. Now, paraneoplastic syndrome is a neurological condition and you decline very quickly. I don't know what to think about this. It is connected with the Zika4. You can have cancer which sets off the neoplastic syndrome, but we can't find the cancer. So I don't know what I'm more scared about, is the cancer, if there's cancer somewhere, or the paraneoplastic syndrome, because it can be fatal. You can lose all your cognitive, you forget how to walk. It's very brutal. It's a very, very rare disease, and I just am in two minds about everything. So all along they thought it was MS, and now it's beginning to be clear that it's this other neurological condition, very similar to MS, but it's not MS. So I'm kind of in shock. I don't know what to think. I've made an appointment to see my doctor coming Thursday, and I just wanted to get on here and talk to you guys because I don't know what to think, and I need an outlet other than my family to talk about this, because I'm scared and I just don't know what to do, you know? Like, I don't know what's wrong with me, and to be told there's possibly, oh, well, there is cancer somewhere in your body but we can't find it, and to have kids and stuff, and I'm 34. But hopefully this year is a lot better year, and it's not as bad as I think it is. You know, looking online is very scary, and looking at statistics and stuff like that, and this paraneoplastic syndrome is very, very rare and very, very debilitating, and very scary condition. And yeah, but just wanted to update you guys on that. I haven't been doing well. I spend most of my days in bed. I can't do much with my kids. Darren does most of it. And there's just been a whole lot of stress around the family as well. So I couldn't thank my mum and Darren enough, because I don't know where I'd be without them holding me together. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I will make a second part to this after I see the doctor. And yeah. All right. Bye, guys.